Leaf Gardens. Take a look at statistics from the game so far. The Capitals, of course, with a 2-1 lead. The Maple Leafs out shooting Washington for the game 20-18. Penalty minutes. This does not include Mike Gartner's game misconduct. The Caps with one more penalty minute, 11-10. 0 for 3 are Washington on the power play, 1 for 3 with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and giving us some work, some help up here in Toronto. Brent Ford keeping face-offs for us. Told us the Leafs right now with a 20-18 edge tonight for the hockey game.
Well, we talked about John Druce getting a couple of goals. He's had a penalty already. He got bopped in the lip by his own teammate Lou Francischetti. It's kind of a strange thing, I think, for Capitals players to do well in this building. I think on many occasions the Caps have come in here and not played very good hockey.
So many distractions. There's so many players who have friends and relatives that make the trip in here to Toronto. You got to get them tickets, and it's a tough building to get tickets in. You want to spend time with them, particularly on a day like today where they got in last night at 3 in the morning, are chartering out after tonight's game, so there's really no time to do that. So a lot of times you'll see players, you know, with understandable duties to have to put up with friends and family, and really no time to really prepare and concentrate for the game. And we've seen the Capitals play some terrible games here in Maple Leaf Gardens, and right now with the 2-1 lead, although, as I said, Toronto outplayed them in that second stanza, at least the Capitals have a lead to work with now going into the final 20 minutes.
Well, at least that hasn't affected John Druce. He's got both the Washington scores in this contest. Here's Ivan Korovo, checked against the sideboards by Borja Salming, and the puck is cleared out to center ice. Todd Gill picks it up and tosses back into the Washington zone. And now Korovo goes to the corner after it. Plays it over to Dave Christian. Leads it ahead for Korovo. Drop pass Gustafsson. Walks in and can't get the shot underway. Lehman hooked his stick out of there. Now Gill starts back for the Leafs. Leads it ahead to center. It goes too far for Olczyk. And Peters is able to grab it. Both teams change on the fly. Marois throws it back into the corner. Here's Marsh back to play it. He and Courtnall tie up. Centering pass, and Leach gets the shot, fires, but Katsopoulos with the block. Now up on the right wing. Hatcher gives it off to Courtnall, right wing side for Steve Leach. Leach gets in across the blue line. Back to Hunter, tries to center. Played to the point for Hatcher. Over now to Rod Langway. His drive is right in front. Katsopoulos knocks Courtnall down. Now Tom Fergus walks out of the zone to Iafrate up on the right wing. Iafrate goes to the corner, tries to get around Hatcher and can't. Takes it behind the net. Domfus bumped on the play by Kevin Hatcher. Here's Rod Langway. Leads the pass to Courtnall, and Courtnall whips it out to center ice. And it's picked up there by Iafrate at the Toronto line. We're just underway with the third period. The Capitals lead 2-1. The lone Toronto goal from Daniel Marois. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Leads it ahead to Ridley. Ridley now to Mike Miller. Into the corner. Rick Lands plays it to the point. Scott Stevens keeps it in. He finds Murphy on the right point. Murphy fires the shot, but it's blocked by Lands. Now to the other blue line, and Scott Stevens keeps it going. Right side for Mike Miller in the corner. Now to Kelly Miller behind the net. His backhander tried to stuff it home, but played away by the stick of Bester. Over now to Mike Miller. Tries a wraparound. That's blocked. Bester comes up with another big save. And it's cleared back to center ice. Stevens over to Larry Murphy. Murphy puts it inside the Toronto zone. Lehman to the corner. Now sends it all the way down. Pete Peters handles at the side of the net. And Larry Murphy's pass back to Stevens, and now back at the goal again for Larry Murphy to the blue line. Kept in by Lehman. Again, Murphy recovers and sends it to the blue line for Gould. That's taken over by Gill. In front off Stevens. Olczyk a shot. Save made by Peters. And Lehman fires a rebound wide. The puck cleared all the way back to the blue line of the Leafs. And Gould and Gill tie up for it. Now here's Hunter coming away with the puck. Dale Hunter shoots it back inside the Toronto zone. Lou Francischetti. Over for Hunter, but it escapes the zone, and now here's Langway to center to Kevin Hatcher. Salming back to chase it inside the Toronto zone. Out to center ice is Ed Olczyk. Feeds it to Lehman. Lehman spins just inside the line. A high shot crashes off the glass. Olczyk can't get it centered, and Langway pokes it into the corner. Now here's Gill. Back to Lehman. Lehman hauled down by Hunter. There's going to be a penalty call coming up. A delayed call against Washington. Out of the nets comes Bester. The Leafs have a sixth attacker. And Lehman to Hunter, and as Hunter plays the puck, it's a penalty call for hooking. There's a break in the action with the score. The Capitals 2 and the Toronto Maple Leafs 1.
Hunter right now has got the stick on Gary Lehman. Watches Lehman takes a sharp turn and gets pulled down to the ice.
That's a good point. It was as much a part of the turn as it was the stick, but the stick was there, making it very easy for Rob Schick to make that call.
Last time the Maple Leafs had a power play in the second period, John Druce with the only penalty call of that second period. The Leafs scored, and a goal still credited to Daniel Marois from Lands and Damphus.
Iafrate dumps it in. Scott Stevens. Hooked, but gets it out to center ice. Land starts right back, but it's picked off, and here's Christian up ahead for Gustafsson. Gustafsson dekes his way, tries to get in front, a shot, and a goal! Bengt Gustafsson with a marvelous display of stick handling and some pretty shifty moves as he moves Bester around and fires it between his pads right on the ice. Washington takes a lead of 3-1.
The thing you got to love about Gustafsson, not only is it stick handling, but watch the body position. The way he almost kind of leans in, gets that contact made a little bit. By that point now, he has got the position that Lands wanted. Lands wants to get between Bester and Gustafsson, but Gustafsson makes that quick little deke, then turns on the Jets. Lands tries to wrap him up, but doesn't do that good of a job of it. Either just take him down completely, try and foul him if you don't want him to get the shot away. And Bester had to open up a moment, and that was all that Bengt Gustafsson needed. The shorthanded goal, huge for the Capitals now. They're back up on top by 2.
Gustafsson's 13th goal of the season. Dave Christian has the assist at 4:46. Dale Hunter still in the box. Here's Todd Gill. For Gustafsson, that's his 3rd shorthanded goal this year. Here's Lands from the point of drive, and Peters hangs on with the save.
Gustafsson, just such a tremendous competitor. Again, using the skills the right way. You know, I mean, you just slow yourself down a little bit. I think Lands just figured that Gustafsson would haul down, you know, that Lands was right there. Gustafsson would get rid of the puck just to take more time, but he slows down, then he gets the acceleration, makes the move in and gets body position on him, and still is able to control the puck, get the puck out in front of him, so Lands really can't do anything about it. Just a masterful play by truly one of the most skilled players in the National Hockey League.
Here's Kelly Miller to lug it back inside the Toronto zone. 47 seconds left now on the Dale Hunter penalty. And this Maple Leaf Garden crowd, always quiet anyway, is just about silent right now. Their Leafs down 3-1 to the Washington Capitals. Borje Salming on the right wing, brings it over to Olczyk. And it's poked back to the point. Here's Gill to keep it in. Olczyk shot off the skates of Miller, and Stevens fires a bullet up into the crowd.
Going after people. Let's go. Come on.
Gustafsson headed right back out onto the ice after a quick rest and some water.
Good shift out there, Kelly and Bobby. That's a good shift. Good work, guys. Good aggressive penalty kill.
Let's take one more look at the goal again. You'll see Rick Lands with Gustafsson, but see where also the position that Lands' stick was. He kind of just really was not in good position to play much of Gustafsson or do anything. He's kind of got the stick almost back behind him. You want to keep it out there in case Gustafsson does turn on the Jets. At least you're able to get the stick and try and use it to slow him down, but with the stick kind of behind Lands, that made Gustafsson's trip to the front of the net even easier.
The puck cleared all the way down by Gustafson back inside Maple Leaf territory, and here's Bester out to Katsopoulos. Now to Miroir. Left wing side. Dom Foose across the blue line. Gives to Fergus. Fergus sends it up the boards, and Hunter steals there and starts ahead to Ridley. Right wing side for Kelly Miller. He takes a spill at the line. Now Salming back of the goal. Delayed offside is finally called with 13:18 to play here in the third period. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 3, the Maple Leafs 1.
Brian Murray's team on top 3-1 at this point. 13:16 left in the third period. Al Koken, Mike Forens, and Jeff Rimmer with you tonight on DC 20 from Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens.
Here's Kevin Hatcher back at the right point. Keeps the puck inside the Toronto zone, and Fergus comes out for the Leafs to center. Now Hatcher takes it away. Shifts it ahead for Lou Francischetti. Francischetti fires it into the corner. Mike Ridley keeps things going there and tosses it back to the goal. Richardson pokes it right out front. Backhand shot by Francischetti is blocked by Lands. Now Fergus. Across the blue line, but Grant Ledyard takes over. On the right wing, he comes out to Mike Miller. Miller fires, and his shot way up high. Boy, Bester went down early on that. Daniel Miroir with the lone Toronto goal. Cuts to the net, but Hatcher's got him tied up. Mike Miller hangs on in the corner. Now Miroir turns, walks in front, gets it away from Hatcher, but gets help from Ridley. Here's Francischetti to start back with the pass from Ridley. He's across the blue line, inside the Maple Leaf zone. Checked by Rick Lands. Works it out to Fergus. Tom Fergus on the right wing. At the blue line, Craig Laughlin goes to the corner, tries to hook Scott Stevens. At the side of the net, Pete Peters decides to hold on.
You can win a trip for two to the 1989 NHL All-Star Game in Edmonton in the Campbell's Chunky Soup All-Star Fan Sweepstakes. Send your name, address, and phone number on a postcard along with the Campbell's Chunky Soup slogan, "It takes care of the meanest appetites." Just send that along to Capitals Chunky Soup Sweepstakes, Post Office Box 1234, Hyattsville, Maryland 20785. In addition, all entrants will be eligible to win 5 pairs of Capital tickets.
The draw comes back to Larry Murphy, sends it up the right wing boards, and it goes all the way out to center ice. Katsopoulos bats it back to the Washington line. Here's Larry Murphy to play it. Over to Scott Stevens. Now back to Murphy. Murphy ahead for Hunter. Hunter gets across the line for Courtnall, but the Capitals are offside here, so the faceoff will be out in neutral ice.
The man in the middle, John Ferguson, former general manager of the Winnipeg Jets. John Bauer, scout and longtime player here in Toronto, is on Ferguson's left, our right side.
Now what's Fergie checking out here?
I was gonna say, you know, you certainly add to the rumors as if this town needs more rumors about its hockey team. Possibility of Ferguson has been mentioned coming back as both coach and general manager of the Maple Leafs, and that could only add fuel to the fire.
The Leafs come out. Here comes Daoud to center. Gets across the line. Into the corner goes Dave Reed. Reed centers it right in front, and it's popped home. And the Leafs are back in this game now at 3-2. Nice centering pass from back on the backboards. And now the Washington lead is cut to 1.
Well, this is an excellent play. Dale Hunter tries to make that move up high for Reed. Reed buys a little time. Now watch. Jeff Courtnall's not really able to come up and very cleanly check his player. Salming coming in, and that is the play that the winger's got to make. He's got to hold Salming out, and an excellent, smart decision by Boreas Salming. You know, you get a veteran defenseman like that, he knows the time to come in. Saw Reed was moving in a little open ice, had the territory to move in. Courtnall looked like he was in position to slow Salming down, but not enough, as the veteran defenseman brings the Leafs back to within 1, 3-2 Capitals.
That's only the second goal of the season for Boreas Salming. Craig Laughlin gets the assist at 8:49. Dave Christian cuts across the blue line with Gustafson. He fires, and a save made by Bester. And now Bester holds on to stop play. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 3 and the Maple Leafs 2.
People.
Let's take another look at this goal. Reed has bought himself some time down there behind the net, slides that thing right through, and look how deep in Borje Salming is. You see Courtnall's got some contact with him and has pretty much upended Salming, but with Peters committed all the way to the other side of the net, there was plenty of room to shoot at. If Salming was able to get that puck on his stick, he did it. And that shorthanded goal of Gustafson looms really large right now for Washington.
We talked about it earlier. Salming, the trigger man, likes to cut in to make that shot, and it's a case where the winger has to try and follow up, and you could see that Courtnall was chasing him. Everybody else assumes they've got their man, but all of a sudden here's Salming coming in and really makes himself an extra part of the offense there, and Courtnall got a piece of him, but not enough to prevent that play.
And admittedly, it's a difficult defensive play for the winger because you want to be facing the puck, facing the net to see what's going on, but at the same time, you have to keep an eye on the guy coming in behind you, and a guy as smart as Borje Salming usually finds a way to kind of hide himself for a moment and then get free as he's there.
Franciscetti goes crashing in, misses Salming, and just runs the boards. And now here comes Lehman up to center ice. Gustafson steals, gives it off to Dave Christian. Christian across the line with Franciscetti, throws it into the corner. Salming ties up Lou Franciscetti, and here comes Gary Lehman back for the Leafs, left wing side for Olczyk at the blue line. It's poked out of there by Gustafson to center and taken over by Dave Christian. Christian gives it off to Langway, left wing side. Kelly Miller, a pass, and cut off by Alan Bester. He was trying to find Dave Christian on the right wing side of the net, but Bester reached out with those pads and just made the stop right there on his own.
Well, it looked like Christian was pretty well tied up on the other side. Kelly Miller looks again, kind of a situation we talked about with Toronto. Looked like he had the opportunity to come in now and blast a shot. He makes the fake. But you see Brad Marsh over there. That was really not going to get through unless it was kind of a lucky break. Here comes Lou Franciscetti in on Borje Salming. Doesn't get all of Salming, a little tiny piece, and much more of the boards. Lou Franciscetti, the subject of a story being done by Channel 9 in Washington, WUSA TV, working on a week in the life of an NHLer, and they picked Lou Franciscetti. He's got a wireless mic on, and they've been firing him around everywhere.
Here's Ridley in front, a deke, a shot, and his backhander is stopped by Bester. Ridley walked right in, but Bester stopped him to keep the score. Capitals 3 and Toronto 2. We'll be back after this.
Delayed while Bobby Gould gets a new piece of lumber to come back in. Gould now switching to the right side with Ridley and Miller. Mike Miller had been on that right side, but Caps thinking defense right now.
Here's Murphy onto his backhand, sends it to the net. It's stopped. A rebound right in front. Miller tries to dig it out of there, but Bester's got it between his pads. And now Richardson tries to give Miller a good shove after Miller had made a legitimate attempt to free the puck and then skated away, and Richardson just kept after him.
Richardson, ever since John Druce's goal, certainly has been a lot more aggressive and has been a problem for the Washington Capitals. Great scoring opportunity, and what a brilliant save. The quickness of Alan Bester showing there, tracking through that crease, kicking the leg out to stop Kelly Miller. The thing I like about Bester, he's got that quickness, but doesn't really try and overuse it. He's not a flopper and a scrambler, holds his position pretty well, but when he's got to make that quick move and open things up and get down to the ice, he does it very well, as he showed there, robbing Kelly Miller.
Here's Larry Murphy. His shot knocks the stick of Olczyk out of his hands, and now Kelly Miller has to chase it back to center ice. And Scott Stevens shoots it right back in. Into the corner, Ridley right in front. Gould, a backhander, and that's stopped by Bester. Here come the Leafs out on the attack again. Todd Gill down the left wing boards. Throws it in behind the Washington goal. Up the sideboards, Katsopoulos tries to keep it in play. And now Ridley skates to center ice, has Gould with him. Trailing the play is Kelly Miller. The centering pass is again grabbed. Bester reaches out with a glove and makes the catch. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 3, the Maple Leafs 2.
Mike Ridley, a little room to maneuver down on that left wing, comes in. A drive that Bester plays up high, up in that chest area and the shoulder. Holds on to it. But Bobby Gould looking for a rebound.
Leafs control this draw. Now here comes Reed to center ice. Sends it all the way down back inside the Washington zone. Pete Peters just lobs it high in the air, and it bounces all the way out to the red line. Grant Ledyard tosses it into the Maple Leaf zone. Capitals have outshot Toronto 30-23 on the game. Bester makes the play to the side of the net now for Dave Reed. Peters over to Hunter, gets off the skate of Reed. Marsh from the point, a drive, and that's kicked into the crowd.
The Capitals return to DC 20 Thursday night, January 26th, as they travel to the Spectrum in Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Flyers. It comes your way live at 7:30 p.m. right here on DC 20.
Here in the third period, Washington has 13 shots on goal already, and Toronto has only 4.
Brad Marsh, not known for his shot, but does get it on goal, much like Rod Langway. You don't think of these guys as guys who score a lot of points, but when they do get the opening, they usually make it a quality shot, put it on goal, and this time Pete Peters has got to pick up that puck, deflect it up as it goes into the crowd. The faceoff will be to his right between Gustafson and Tom Fergus.
Peters unbeaten in his last 6 games. Has a 3-2 lead here with 8:05 to play in the third period. Scott Stevens throws it behind the goal, up the sideboards for Christian, tips it out to Bengt Gustafson. Gustafson gets across the blue line, drop pass into the skates of Franciscetti. He's hit by Richardson, still moving the puck along the sideboards. Now back into the corner. Rick Lands has it behind the net. Lands starts out to Fergus. Now we've got a fight going. We've got Franciscetti back inside the Leaf zone at the blue line with Richardson. They're holding on awfully tight. Nobody's really struck any punches, and the linesmen are coming in. All those two did was grab one another in bear hugs, and there were no punches thrown at all. Pat DiPuzzo and Ron Esseltine having to earn their wages now as they try to pull these two strong players apart.
Frankly, I'm surprised this didn't happen a little sooner. We mentioned the Capitals with the attention they wanted to give Luke Richardson after the first period incident involving Mike Gartner and the ensuing ejection of Gartner for a major penalty. Take another look at it. Nice good pop in there on Franciscetti by Richardson. A clean one, got him with the shoulder, and the digging with Richardson moving away. So the play was coming back up ice when those two did get together. As we mentioned, Franciscetti wearing a wireless mic again tonight. Had a little altercation developing with Randy Moeller last night, so he's given the people at Channel 9 in Washington plenty to work with. Sports producer Larry Duvall up here, and excellent work, hard work done by cameraman Mike Fox as well to produce this special for Glenn Brenner. It should be done sometime in February.
Richardson for roughing, Franciscetti for holding at 12:20 of the third period. Here's Iafrate across the blue line. Jammed up by Scott Stevens, leaving Murphy plenty of room to get the puck, and he clears it out of the zone to center ice. Katopoulos tosses it right back in. Scott Stevens ahead for Corriveau, jammed up by Marois. Corriveau goes back to the corner after it, over to Murphy. On the right wing for Dave Christian. Out to center ice. Corriveau, drop pass for Christian. And now it's Fergus chasing the center ice, but Murphy goes back to his own line, leads it for Scott Stevens. He dumps it back inside the Maple Leaf zone. Both teams changing on the fly. Iafrate goes rink wide for Salming. And Borja Salming dumps it back inside the Capital zone. In the corner, Ridley takes it off the sideboard, starts out. Moves to center ice. Left wing pass. Hatcher carries across the line. He's around Salming. He centers it. Nobody there to knock it home. Gould was held up right in front of the net. Now chased by Ridley behind the goal. Salming to the point. Kept in by Langway. Turned around by Kelly Miller, but it gets off his stick to center ice, and here comes Olczyk on the comeback for Toronto. Now to Lehman, to Todd Gill. Gill with the puck over to Lance. Puts it right in front for Gill. A shot. Peters the save. And he covers up. Oh, that goal's got to be waved off. The puck was covered by Pete Peters and then was forced loose. And right away, referee Rob Schick says, no way, I blew that whistle.
I think there's no question about it. You can hear the whistle up here before it finally was knocked into the net. Rob Schick was very definitive about it, did not hesitate. There's a break in the action. The Capitals continue to lead the Maple Leafs 3-2. Kansas pinched in. Now Gill will be coming in as well. The shot will be taken by Todd Gill. Now he follows it up. Keep your eye on Rob Schick. See, he's got the whistle in his mouth. The hands are already out, extending himself to signify that he's blown the whistle and stopped play. So you can see on that replay, there's no question that Rob Schick had blown the whistle and was already trying to stop play when Todd Gill poked the puck home.
The draw taken by the Capitals. It's back to Larry Murphy. Here's Murphy leading it ahead now for Gustafson. Sends it in from center ice, back inside the Maple Leaf zone. Gustafson throws it right in front. Christian, a backhand shot, and Bester makes the save. Now Stevens from the point to Gustafson. He one-times it wide. Gill picks it up to the point. Gustafson thought he had it inside the line, but the ruling from Ron Asseltine is it had come out of the zone, so it's offside Washington.
Well, the Caps almost picked up on a mistake by Alan Bester. Bester throwing the puck around the boards and just put it right to Ben Gustafson. Pete Peters learned if you're going to handle that puck, you got to be very definitive about it, just not kind of lazily up the boards like Bester did. I think he really recognized where Gustafson was, and Capitals almost turned it into a good scoring opportunity with Christian on the other side of the net with a whack at it.
Well, they finished the first period in Calgary, and Andrew McBain's goal has given the Jets a 1-0 lead over the Flames after one at the Saddledome. Red Wings lead Chicago 1-0. Canadians over New Jersey 1-0. All the scores brought to you by Giant Food. Right here, 3-2. Capitals have the lead over Toronto. Pete Peters lofts it into the corner. That goes over the glass, and it is shorter glass than most here in Maple Leaf Gardens. And there is no choice and no alternative for Rob Schick but to hand out a delay of game penalty.
Well, here's the other thing that a goaltender's got to make sure of when he handles that puck, that he's going to control it well enough not to put it up on top of the glass, over the glass. I think that's the problem. Peters is talking to him now, saying, I was just trying to play the puck along the boards, and it rode its way up. Capitals involved with controversy last night, plenty of controversy with referee Ron Hogarth, and one of the things that really had him steaming late in the game, Clint Malarchuk stopped a shot. The puck bounced up in the air. As part of the save, he swatted the puck backwards up against the glass. Ron Hogarth said that he was swatting it up and over the glass, and it did make its way over. In overtime, the Capitals had to kill up a penalty. Now here it is. Pete Peters fishing it to try and whip it around the glass, and just got it too high, and it's become an automatic call, as Pete well knows. And the Capitals now, with the 3-2 lead, having to face the Toronto power play with 5:16 left in this third period.
I would estimate, Al, that the glass here in Maple Leaf Gardens in the end zone is probably a good 2 to 3 feet shorter than it is at the Capitol Center. And that puck would have stayed in the Capitol Center because of that higher glass. But here it is much shorter in the ends, and it just made it over. So the Leafs feel the table is set. The penalty to Peters being served by Courtnall. Toronto has the power play. They're looking for the tying goal. Kevin Hatcher steals the puck, puts it behind the net. Lehman jammed up by Langway in the corner. And here's Gustafson to move it out of the zone and all the way back to center ice. The delay of game penalty at 14:44 of the third period. Still a minute and a half to go, and here comes Salming across the line. 4:40 left to play here in period number 3. Capitals 3, Maple Leafs 2. Slap shot by Lands, and that's deflected up into the crowd. Pete Peters with 5 wins, no losses, and 1 tie in his last 6 starts, and has not lost since December the 15th at Philadelphia, when he was on the losing end of a 4-1 score. He shut out the Leafs by a 3-0 count on January 6th at the Capitol Center. He also played in the October 14th game and was beaten by Toronto 3-1. Bobby Gould here against Ed Olczyk, and Olczyk wins the draw, brings it all the way back to the Toronto line now for Salming. A minute 5 seconds left in the Leaf power play, and here's a two-line pass stopping play.
People talking about a lot of pressure on this young player, Ed Olczyk. You know, it's been 11 years since the Toronto Maple Leafs have had a player score more than 100 points in a season. Darryl Sittler, the last one to do it back in '77, and right now Ed Olczyk on pace to do that. Converted left winger, playing almost exclusively center now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, leading the team in scoring with 24 goals and 28 assists.
Here's Salming to start out. Fires in from center ice. Todd Gill back to get it. Scott Stevens hangs on to him, and it's now loose for Lehman right in front. Peters is down and makes the stop, robbing Olczyk, who just is disgusted in front of the net, shaking his head. He can't believe he didn't get that one by Peters, but Pete dropped very quickly and slid across to make the save.
Even if it wasn't a 3-2 game for the Capitals and the Leafs on the power play, this, I think, is the save of the game. How spectacular the movement of Pete Peters. A stand-up goaltender, rarely do you see him on the ice, but that time he had to do it with that quick move as Lehman came up with the loose puck, and we talked about how dangerous a sniper Ed Olczyk has become. The Leafs get it to the man they wanted, Ed Olczyk in front, and the frustration shows as Pete Peters robs him with the save of the game.
The draw goes to the corner. Here's Scott Stevens back to get it. Now Fergus works it loose. Gustafsson gets his stick in there and sends it ahead for Dave Christian. Remember, Gustafsson scored what right now is the difference in this game on a shorthanded goal. Iafrate. Back to Lands. He dumps it in, and Langway clears off the boards and out to center ice. Gustafsson challenging Iafrate for it. Christian tries to work it free. The puck frozen along the baseboard, now finally worked loose at center ice, and Fergus sends it back to the Washington line. Langway picks an opening and clears it all the way down. Adam Creighton has scored for Chicago. The Blackhawks are tied with Detroit 1-1. Winnipeg and Calgary also tied 1-1 on a goal by Joe Nieuwendyk for the Flames. In Washington ice, Salming takes the helmet off Kelly Miller. Here's a wrist shot to the side of the net, a centering pass. Peters the save. Richardson ends up getting in the way of his teammates. A shot blocked by Ridley. Kelly Miller goes after it. The Leafs swarming around the Washington goal. Penalty's over. Caps back at full strength. Here's a save by Peters on a blast by Salming from the point. Now in the corner, Ed Olczyk centers it. Peters the save, and it's kicked away to the corner. Miller plays it out of the zone and back to center. Pressure off for just a moment, but here comes Daniel Marois back in. His drive blocked by Ledyard. Luke Richardson carries it in offside with Olczyk trapped inside the zone.
More great swarming work by the Leafs, but more brilliant goaltending from Pete Peters and some good defensive help done out there for Peters by both Larry Murphy and Grant Ledyard. Watch this play by Larry Murphy. Look at him get the stick down to prevent what would have been a real clear pass over to Daniel Marois. Got enough of it where Marois was not able to get a clean shot away and gave Pete time to recover for it. Yeah, it looked kind of like a situation too, Mike, where the original shot could have been a good one, although you can't fault the idea of the pass with Marois that wide open. You're counting that he will stay open. You're not figuring that Larry Murphy is going to make such a brilliant defensive play.
Well, the Capitals have called timeout here at the 17:45 mark of the third period.
Capitals back this weekend for an excellent doubleheader. The Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers in town. It's their only appearance at the Capitol Center, by the way, this Friday night. 8:05 game time. It's also Food for All Seasons night All fans who bring 3 cans of food receive a team autograph cup free. Then on Sunday afternoon, the Boston Bruins call. 1:35 face-off. All fans 16 and under receive a Caps t-shirt. Still plenty of good seats available for both games. Pick them up at all Hex Ticket Center outlets or give Phone Charge a call tomorrow at 432-0200 or use the toll-free number 1-800-448-9009.
Well, a final score to pass along on our Giant Food scoreboard. Canadians winning 1-0 over the New Jersey Devils. Brian Hayward gets the shutout for Montreal.
Want to pass on hello to Tony and Jovita watching us back in Washington, D.C. tonight. Hope they're enjoying the action along with everybody else here on DC 20. 2:10 left to go in this hockey game. The Maple Leafs have a little effort going, some offensive thrust. Caps holding on to the lead, though.
Capitals, the only Patrick Division team in action tonight, so needless to say, the 2 points are very, very big ones. Pittsburgh is not playing. A win would put the Capitals into sole possession of first place in the Patrick Division. Here's Iafrate in behind the net. Chased by Francischetti, and now Christian tries to work it free. Back to Lou Francischetti. Rick Lands ties him up. And the puck is frozen there inside the Maple Leaf zone with 1:38 to go in the third period of this game. Now they're going to move the faceoff outside the line as they rule the Capitals forced the draw.
Al Iafrate showing his frustrations. He had the puck, was checked off it by Lou Francischetti, and I think that's the reason why you've got Francischetti out there on that line with Christian and Gustafsson. He's a smart veteran, gets in there, 4 checks, can create some turnovers.
It'll be Ridley against Olczyk now. According to our stat man Brent Ford, Olczyk has won 4 draws tonight. Ridley has only won 1, but Mike Ridley takes this one. So a very important face-off here won by Ridley as he is able to send it back into the Toronto zone to kill off some more time. Down to 1.5 minutes to play here in the third period. Out at center ice, a stolen puck by Bob Gould. He throws it inside the Maple Leaf zone. Now Salming back to play it off the backboards. Richardson starting out. Leafs trying to move the puck so they can get Bester out of the net. At center ice, here comes Salming. Bester starts his move to the goal. The Leafs have replaced Bester at the 18:55 mark of the third period with a 6th attacker. Now we're in the final minute of play in the third period. Rod Langway clears it out of the zone and all the way down the ice. The Leaf net is empty. Toronto makes another line change. Here's Olczyk, too far for Lehman. Peters has it to Stevens, to the blue line, but not out. Gustafsson tries to get it out of there. Jammed up by Lehman, kicks the puck to center ice. 35 seconds to play in the third. Iafrate back into the Washington zone. Peters slows it down. Now plays it along into the corner. Some indecision there, but Lehman finally gives it up, and it's picked up by Dave Christian, and he sends it to center ice. Batted down by Salming to Domfus, and that stops play with 14 seconds left.
Caps get a little break, too. I think a couple seconds went off the clock before the linesman and referee Rob Schick finally blew the whistle to stop play for that hand pass. So now you've got 14 seconds left to go in this game, and the face-off outside of the Washington defensive end. Looks like it's going to be almost right there at center ice. So that's going to be a tough situation for the Maple Leafs here. They've got to get this draw quickly to a defenseman and have him fire that puck in there and go and chase it to try and create a quick turnover. Gary LaRiviere going over some strategy right now because they don't want to bring Alan Bester out. So they got to get one defenseman to kind of play midway between the goal and that blue line area, really, to try and prevent the Capitals from getting a quick shot there from center ice. You got to get the draw to the other defenseman and have him fire it in. Let those forwards go and chase it in. Brian Murray will be out there with, right now, Bengt Gustafsson, David Christian, and Kelly Miller. Langway and Stevens will be on defense, with Pete Peters, of course, remaining in the net, getting a little drink of water right now, trying to keep up those fluids.
So the Leafs have taken their 30-second timeout. The Caps had already taken theirs. Sean Burr has scored for Detroit. They lead Chicago 2-1. Montreal has already beaten the only other Patrick Division team playing. That's the New Jersey Devils. Pittsburgh, the Rangers, the Flyers, and the Islanders all idle tonight.
Maple Leafs have Lehman, Olchuk, Fergus, Damphus, the defensemen Salming and Iafrate. Nobody really back right now in a true defensive position for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thought they'd have somebody back a little farther, somewhere near the blue line, to try and prevent anything from going forward, as Pat Gustafson tried to do a little of that.
Olchek beats Gustafson on the draw, brings it back. Iafrate throws it into the corner. The rush is on here inside the Washington zone, but Gustafson takes possession. 5 seconds left. Out to Christian. Throws to center ice. It'll go wide of the goal, but there's the horn to signal the end of this game. Now, I thought the whistle had blown with 1 second left, but apparently that whistle just signaling that that was the end of time. And the Washington Capitals have beaten the Toronto Maple Leafs by a final score of 3-2. And the Capitals keeping alive a string of games now. They have gone 6 games undefeated since January the 2nd, and they add the Leafs to that string now and now have 23 victories on the season with 15 losses and 7 ties, and now Washington with 53 points, all alone in first place in the Patrick Division race. Al and I'll be back with tonight's post-game show with Jeff Rimmer right after we pause for these messages.